After a 2024 season in which the LA Rams won the NFC West and had an incredible finish to their regular season, the Rams decided to make a little bit of a push to reset their books a little bit, only add a few major pieces to the personnel and to the roster, but there were a lot of moves and a lot of players leaving the LA Rams that leave them with a few voids that they'll need to fill before the start of the 2025 year. Getting straight into what the LA Rams did in the offseason, the only trade that they made was trading guard Jonah Jackson to the Chicago Bears, and in terms of what they had leave their roster, the obvious names are guys like Cooper Kupp, Bobby Brown, Mike Hoyt, Demarcus Robinson, and Christian Roseboom. You have some other rotational guys like Hunter Long, Tyler Johnson, and Neville Gallimore that left as well. But those few names that I mentioned at the beginning, Cooper Kupp, Bobby Brown, Hoyt, Robinson, and Roseboom, those are going to be the ones that, were the major pieces leaving. Cooper Kupp, obviously, the Super Bowl MVP from a few years ago. Defensive tackle Bobby Brown was just a very good, very reliable piece on the interior of their pass rush and run defense. Michael Hoyt, who throughout his career with the Rams played almost every position on the front end of the defensive line. He played defensive tackle at moments. He played defensive end. He played outside linebacker. This was a guy that pretty much could be relied upon to do everything. Demarcus Robinson was kind of their one-on-one guy for contested plays, for those plays in the red zone where you need quick winners. And Christian Roseboom was the leading tackler for this team last year. Now, the LA Rams did do a pretty good job, in my opinion, of replacing some of the guys that they had leave. Davante Adams obviously comes in as the number 2 or even number 1 receiver, if you just want to call him that to make him happy, with Puka Nacua. He replaces Cooper Kupp. You get Poona Ford to replace Bobby Brown. You bring in an offensive lineman in Coleman Shelton who can be reliable. And Nathan Landman comes in as a possible replacement for Christian Roseboom. To be honest, I kind of just feel like with what the Rams were able to do in the draft the last couple of years, they were pretty comfortable with the roster that they had and even with the departures that they were expecting. I mean, they were expecting to lose Cooper Kupp. I don't know if they were expecting to lose Bobby Brown and Michael Hoyt and Christian Roseboom, but I think where they have a little bit of leeway is, they've drafted guys on the defense, especially guys like Cameron Kitchens, guys like Jared Verse, guys like Braden Fisk. This is a team defensively who has already probably a major portion of their core put together, and they're going to be looking offensively pretty similar as well. Yes, Cooper Kupp is gone, but you have somebody in Davante Adams who can win one-on-one matchups. You have someone in Puka Nacua who can win one-on-one matchups. They bring back Tutu Atwell on a contract extension. They still have Kyron Williams, and they still have Blake Corum. They still have a pretty full offense. I would say the only position that really could use an improvement upon it is the tight end position. And that's the thing. I think the tight end spot, while it could be a position that could be improved upon, I look back at where this team was constructed and where they were, how they prioritized their offense. I mean, the tight end spot just isn't what Sean McVay, Matthew Stafford, and the LA Rams have really prioritized in the past. It just really isn't. And honestly, if it's not a number 1 receiver, they haven't really prioritized them much. And I think that's kind of why you saw them make the move towards Puka Nacua and bring in Davante Adams as well, because it's really just going to be the Puka Nacua show, and Davante Adams is going to be there as probably one of the best number 2 pieces at a wide receiver spot that we've seen in a long time. Now, moving forward to the draft for the LA Rams, there's 8 overall selections for the Rams in this year's 2025 NFL Draft. 4 of them are in the 6th round. And 6 of them come after the number 100 overall selection. I think there's always a lot of hype around teams who have, so many picks in the top 100. The Rams are not one of those teams this year. They have the number 26 and the number 90 pick before number 100. And so, I think the Rams have been, these last 2 years, they've done a lot of, laying the groundwork for making their defense really good. I think what you can kind of see from the LA Rams the last 2 years of their drafting, it's very similar to go back to 2010 and 2011 with the Seattle Seahawks. And you saw a team in 2010 get, in the same draft, Earl Thomas and Cam Chancellor. And you have your two safeties for the next 10 years. And then they come back in the next year. They get guys like KJ Wright, like Richard Sherman, like Byron Maxwell, even Malcolm Smith, who was the Super Bowl MVP. And moving that to where the LA Rams were, obviously, last year, their draft, getting Jared Verse, getting Braden Fisk, who, in my opinion, you easily could say they could have split Rookie of the Year honors. You also come back later in the draft, you get somebody like Cameron Kitchens. And then 2 years ago, for their draft, Byron Young, Kobe Turner. These are guys who are laying the groundwork to make the LA Rams a really good team for not just now, not just a few years from now, but for the next 5 to 10 seasons. This is how you build a team that can consistently be relied upon as a playoff contender. And with the number 26 pick, in my opinion, you got to do something similar for the offense. Probably a tackle, probably an offensive lineman, bare minimum. And then throughout the rest of the draft, I think I already said it, but, if you can get a tight end, that'd be great. But like I said, tight end just hasn't been a position in Sean McVay's coaching history that has been prioritized. Tyler Higbee's probably a top 10-ish, top 15-ish tight end in the NFL. And when he was at his peak, he was producing a lot for the LA Rams. But I just don't see that is a consistent option for a Sean McVay offense or a Matthew Stafford quarterbacked offense. I just don't think in either of those two's history that they don't prioritize that position very much. For free agency this year, I'm going to give the LA Rams an A-. Now, that might seem a little weird because they didn't do a whole lot, right? They added those key names like Devontae Adams, like Poona Ford, but there wasn't much more else other than that, right? And you look at who they lost on their team, Cooper Kupp, all the names I mentioned. I get why it might be a little confusing to say that this is an A- year, but I think the plan is we are going to build this team for the future. We have the now figured out. We have the defense for now figured out. We have the offense for now figured out. It's going to be what can we do for the future? And by keeping the books relatively clean, yes, you get Devontae Adams. Yes, you get Poona Ford, who are your two big name guys. But the guys that left, they sure got a lot of money. And if the LA Rams were to give that money to them instead of them going out and getting a deal with a different team, we could be looking at the Rams in 2 to 3 years when Matthew Stafford's contract is going to be at its most expensive, when Cooper Kupp is going to have his expensive years, when Puka Nacua needs an extension, when the defensive players need extensions. It's going to get a lot harder if they would have kept these guys on the roster. And so I think, in my opinion, it was a bit of addition by subtraction, because now it also kind of holds their feet to the fire, and they need to replace some of these guys through the draft, and they've done a pretty good job drafting the last 4 to 5 years, really. I highlighted the last 2, but in general, they've done a pretty good job. They've been able to have Sean McVay put these guys offensively into good positions, and whoever's been the defensive coordinator or the coaching staff on the defensive side of the ball, they've always put guys in great positions to perform and produce. And easily see that being the case this year as well.